After the death of Charles II of Spain in 1700, his autopsy revealed some truly astonishing findings. Charles II of Spain died suddenly on November 1st, 1700, at the young age of just 38. It was surprising, however, that he lived as long as he did given his lifelong poor health. Historians Will and Ariel Durant even noted in their acclaimed series, The Story of Civilization, that he was constantly on the brink of extinction, but often defied Christendom by surviving. Charles' father, King Philip V of Spain, was born in Madrid in 1661. At the time of Charles' birth, Philip was 56 years old and had reigned as king for 40 years. Philip had 7 children from his first marriage to Elizabeth of France, but only one of them, a boy and potential heir, survived to a notable age, dying at 16. Elizabeth herself had died 2 years earlier in 1644. Meanwhile, Charles' mother was Marianne of Austria, Philip's second wife and niece, whom he married in 1646. Marianne and Philip had 5 children together, but the Habsburg dynasty, notorious for intermarrying blood relatives to keep power within the family, faced complications from such practices. Despite the troubling practice of intermarriage, 2 of Philip and Marianne's children made it to adulthood, Margaret Theresa and her younger brother, Charles. As the male, Charles was the heir apparent, even though he was 10 years younger than his sister. He was given the title Prince of Asturias, traditionally reserved for the Spanish throne's heir. Due to Marianne's close relation to Philip, Charles was not only her son, but also her first cousin and his father's great-nephew. Such close familial ties often led to complications, and Charles's poor physical and mental health from birth was likely a result of this. Charles didn't begin speaking until he was 4 and didn't learn to walk until he was 8, being treated like a toddler until he was 10. He also had a significant jaw deformity, common among the Habsburgs, which made speaking and eating difficult. The young prince was considered so ill that no effort was made to educate him, and he was allowed to be utterly indolent and rebellious to avoid straining his frail constitution. He often appeared visibly dirty due to his lack of self-care. When Philip died in September 1665, Charles was anointed King of Spain despite his many shortcomings, being only weeks away from turning 4. His mother Marianne and cousin Charles were appointed regents to rule in his place. Despite this, Spain remained a powerful empire with vast territories in Africa, the Pacific, and the Americas, though it was in decline due to Philip's poor management. Ongoing disputes, particularly with France and Portugal, added to the challenges. At the Spanish court, Marianne promoted undeserving favorites to high positions, causing further intrigue. Eduardo Nefard, the Grand Inquisitor she chose, signed peace treaties with Portugal and France in 1668, but his compromises displeased many, leading to his deposition by John of Austria, Charles' half-brother. John Fernando de Valenzuela, another of Marianne's favorites, was the next to rise in power, but was also overthrown by John in 1675. 14-year-old Charles was formally qualified to take the throne. Marianne extended her regency and reinstated Valenzuela, but John declared himself prime minister in a coup in 1678, banishing Marianne and Valenzuela from Spain. John attempted to groom Charles for kingship, advising him to maintain his hair neatly to ensure the crown's succession. Deciding that Charles needed a wife, John arranged a marriage to Marie-Louise of Orleans, a French noblewoman. The couple married in 1679 when Charles was 18 and Marie-Louise 17. Despite Marianne's return to Madrid following John's death before the wedding, Charles's 2 wives held power during his reign. Unfortunately, Marie-Louise failed to produce an heir, possibly due to Charles's health issues. She died unexpectedly in February 1689, and Charles remarried in August of that year to Maria Anna of Newborough. After his mother Marianne died in 1696, Charles ruled without a regent. Maria Anna also failed to bear him an heir, leaving no clear successor when Charles died in 1700. As Charles's life neared its end, his peculiarities increased. He was so fascinated with his deceased family members that he had their bodies exhumed to view their remains. His autopsy revealed disturbing findings. His corpse was devoid of blood, his heart was as small as a peppercorn, his lungs were rusted, his intestines had rotted, 1 testicle was burned, and fluid was found in his head. Under his reign, Spain began to collapse due to continuous wars, disease outbreaks, and economic unrest. His death sparked the 12-year War of the Spanish Succession, which devastated Europe and claimed nearly 1 million lives, leaving his unstable realm with a final turbulent legacy.